All animals are cute in their own special way, but babies are even more so. Some are just so incredibly adorable that the urge to touch them is simply irresistible. These are the cutest baby animals you'll want to cuddle. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Now, let's get started. Number 1. Piglets. Finally, at the top of our list are the piglets. And honestly, rightfully so. These babies charm us with their cute looks, little ears, pink snouts, and the adorable sounds they make. But what you might not know is that they are very intelligent. Well-trained piglets learn their names in just 2 or 3 weeks, respond when called, and even learn tricks faster than dogs, which, let's be honest, is pretty impressive. Also, while they're still small, they usually have more fuzz, which only adds to their cuteness and makes them stars of viral videos and photo shoots. And if you think Disney has a special talent for picking which animals become icons, you're absolutely right. Piglet, Pooh Bear's friend, is a perfect example of that. Number 2. Baby alligators. Now we've reached one of the most ironic entries on this list. In 2021, it might seem crazy to think anyone would find a baby alligator or crocodile a cute creature, but it's true. At one point in history, these little reptiles were popular pets in the United States. And if you look closely, you can even understand why. They're small, almost defenseless compared to their giant parents, and they don't yet have that powerful bite capable of killing. Of course, the irony lies in the fact that this cuteness has an expiration date. As they grow, alligators become dangerous, difficult to keep, and practically impossible to control. That's when many owners give up on the idea. The legend that alligators live in the sewers started this way, with people, regretful, flushing them down the toilet thinking they were setting the animal free. It sounds like a joke, but that's how the urban myth began. Number 3. Caracal. You might be surprised by this name since we're back to the world of wild cats, but this is no ordinary cat. The caracal is an elegant and exotic wildcat native to Africa, the Middle East, and India. It's not just its appearance that stands out. The caracal was considered a sacred animal in ancient Egypt, even appearing in artworks. But when they're born, these cubs are an explosion of cuteness. Imagine a mini feline with huge, furry ears, intense eyes, and a curious behavior. Even though they're wild, caracal kittens look like plush toys that came to life. They are playful, active, and show impressive agility from a very early age, as if preparing to become the agile and graceful hunters they will be in the future. They appear in paintings, bronze figurines, and sculptures believed to protect the tombs of pharaohs. It's not hard to see why so many people are fascinated by these cats. After all, the caracal has a very unique look, and the fact that it lives in regions like Africa and Asia gives it an exotic air that sets it apart from common domestic cats. Moreover, caracals can be easily domesticated and even kept as pets, though it's important to remember that in some countries, this is not legally allowed. So if you're thinking about having one, make sure it's permitted where you live. Number 4. Owlets. Adult owls are often associated with wisdom, intelligence, and mystery. But if you've ever seen an owlet, you know they represent the exact opposite of that, in the best possible way. The babies are born practically featherless, with tiny wings and beaks that look too big for their heads. Still, they manage to bring smiles to any animal lover. As they grow, their feathers start to appear, and they become little balls of fluff with huge eyes, staring at you with curiosity. And here's a fun fact. Owlets are born with an egg tooth, which they use to break the shell when hatching. A few weeks later, this tooth falls off. After all, it only serves that first big challenge in life. Number 5. Honduran White Bat. I bet you didn't expect to see a bat on this list, right? But it's here, and for good reason. And it's not just any bat, it's the Honduran White Bat, one of only 3 known bats in the world with completely white fur. Most bats are black or brown, and before you ask, no, it's not albino. This little bat is called the tent maker because it uses its teeth to cut large leaves from plants and build small shelters where it hides during the day. And it's precisely these shelters that make the babies even cuter. They curl up snugly together in the folded leaves, looking like delicate little miniatures that could fit between your fingers. A truly adorable sight. Number 6. Fawn. Don't confuse them with foals. The fawn, a baby deer, is undoubtedly one of the most delicate and fragile babies on this list. Just like foals, they are born with weak legs and wobbly as they try to balance, being completely dependent on their mothers during the first months of life. It's a sweet scene, but also full of vulnerability, especially because mothers sometimes have to leave to search for food, leaving their babies hidden and alone, exposed to risks. Fawns can nurse for up to 6 months, but some are weaned as early as 8 weeks, depending on the development of the rumen, a vital part of their digestive system. Now, even if you really want to pet a fawn when you see one, it's better not to. They might get scared and run away, and if the parents are nearby, that could pose danger both to the fawn and to you. So, as much as you remember Bambi, it's probably best to remember what happened to his mother and just watch from afar. Number 7. Crea Llama baby. A baby llama is called a cria. Bet you didn't know that. When it's time for birth, it's common to see several females in the group gathering around the mother to protect her and keep the newborn safe from predators. It's an incredible natural strategy, like an honor guard made up of llamas. Cria are able to walk and nurse less than an hour after birth. This shows how resilient these animals are and how quickly they learn. But what about cuteness? Oh, just look at a cria and you'll understand. They are covered in soft fur, have a curious gaze, and unlike many noisy animals, they are quite quiet, which adds to their charm. Between their baby and adult forms, llamas have become cultural icons, especially in Peru, where they are considered national symbols, and rightly so. Number 8. Chicks. Chicks. These baby chickens are an explosion of cuteness that wins over even the toughest hearts. And it gets even more charming when you see them hatching from their eggs, newborns, following their mother hen in search of food and new discoveries. As soon as all the eggs hatch, the mother hen and her chicks set out to find food, water, and fun, scratching the ground and exploring their surroundings. Chicks are born with the ability to recognize their family, whether it's their mother or whoever is nearby, through a process called imprinting. It's similar to what we mentioned before about ducklings. They see someone and simply start following that being as part of their family. Besides that, chicks make such adorable chirping sounds that often serve as an alert to the mother in case of danger. On farms, it's common to see visitors enchanted by the chicks, as they are one of the most popular attractions during tours. Number 9. Lion cubs. In the middle of the jungle, powerful and silent, the lion sleeps tonight. Well, except for the fact that lions don't live in jungles, but in the plains and savannas of Africa, where there really aren't any jungles. But okay, let's put that aside. What matters is that lions are indeed elite predators, symbols of strength, power, and majesty, true kings of the animal world. But when they are born, these little lion cubs are simply irresistible. The prince of the jungle, or better said, of the savannah, is an adorable ball of fur. When it's time for birth, the lioness usually leaves the group and finds a more isolated and safe spot, like dense bushes or even caves. If you remember The Lion King, this actually happened with Simba's birth. As cubs, lions look much more like fluffy domestic cats than the feared beasts they will become. They have no defense against larger predators, so they rely completely on their mother. That's why humans can sometimes interact more easily and safely with cubs at this stage. It's during this phase that we see charming videos of them being fed, playing, and being petted. Number 10. Foals. Without a doubt, many of you have imagined one of the most adorable scenes in the animal kingdom, the first moments of a foal's life. As soon as it's born, the young horse tries to stand up but still doesn't have enough strength to keep steady. So it gets up and falls, gets up again and falls. This process repeats for a little while until, around 30 minutes of life, the foal finally manages to balance on its legs, and the moment is so cute it melts any heart. The first hours of a newborn foal are a real roller coaster of movements and discoveries. After standing up, it tries to nurse for the first time, but it doesn't quite know where to go, so the mother needs to guide it. About 90 minutes later, the foal starts trying to run, an essential skill for its life as a horse. Yes, just 2 hours after birth, it is already taking its first gallops. Mixing with the character from the famous Disney movie, a fawn or baby deer, is a classic example of how nature can instantly make us say, "Aw." Number 11. Fox cubs. Foxes are majestic animals that leave anyone impressed when seen in the wild. But beware, don't get too close, as they can attack if they feel threatened. That said, it's undeniable how beautiful they are, especially species like the red fox or the charming Arctic fox. Hello, little winter fox. When it comes to cuteness, few things can compete with fox cubs, which interestingly are also called cubs or pups, even though they aren't dogs. Maybe it's an attempt to trick us even in the name. Get it? Outfox? Okay, never mind. Like many other animals on this list, what makes fox cubs so adorable is the combination of a small body, soft fur, and a look that makes them seem like living plush toys. Foxes are usually born in spring, around March in the northern hemisphere or September in the southern hemisphere. They spend quite a lot of time with their mothers during their first year of life, becoming independent afterward. In other words, the best time to see them is right after birth, when they're at the peak of cuteness. Number 12. Ducklings. Here's another example of a baby animal with its own special name that, thanks to its cuteness, has conquered pop culture in the best way possible. We're talking about ducklings. They're so beloved that they've inspired toys, cartoons, stories, and even children's songs. But it's worth remembering they're also partly responsible for the famous Peeps, those marshmallow chick candies eaten at Easter. So maybe not everything is 100% positive. Right after they're born, ducklings are already running around like natural little athletes, and it's simply adorable to watch. These little ones often show up in gift baskets, and with a bit of knowledge and planning, these cuties can become beloved family members. Many people love the idea, but if we focus only on the cuteness factor, imagine this scene you've probably seen before. You're by a river or maybe a lake, and you see a duck gliding through the water. Right behind it, a row of 3, 4, maybe even 5 ducklings, all lined up, following mom or dad. That's the kind of cuteness that hurts. It's an overload of sweetness. Ducks are extremely social animals, which means they need other ducks to live happily. So, keeping a duck as a pet indoors isn't a great idea. But if you have some outdoor space, you can enjoy the company of these little creatures for a long time. Number 13. Baby goats. Now let's talk about a type of animal that many of you have probably seen or even lived with on a farm. Baby farm animals. Raising and helping with the birth of animals can be a pretty common routine for those living on farms. But among all the animals there, which babies stand out as the cutest? We start with baby goats. At first glance, you might not think they're that cute, especially compared to baby sheep, which tend to be fluffier and cuter. But the thing here isn't just about looks, it's the behavior of baby goats. If you search for videos of baby goats playing, you'll find extremely cute scenes of these little ones hopping, running, and having fun with their littermates, all without a care in the world. And just like kittens, baby goats make sounds that are simply irresistible. Of course, when they grow up, they might get a bit harder to handle, but that goes for almost all animals. So enjoy them while they're babies and don't be afraid to give them some love. Number 14. Baby bunnies. This one is a bit ironic depending on how much you know about rabbits. For those who didn't catch the joke, here's the deal. Rabbits reproduce like crazy. Seriously, they're famous for it, constantly having huge litters of babies. Sometimes it can get a little out of control. But let's skip that part and focus on what really matters. Adorable baby bunnies. The average rabbit litter has anywhere from 4 to 12 babies, all born after a super short gestation period of just 30 days. Male rabbits can start reproducing at just 7 months old, and believe it or not, females can start as early as 4 months. That means a single female rabbit can give rise to up to 800 babies, grandbabies, and great-grandbabies in just 1 year. That's a lot. Like, a lot. And here you were thinking the human population was out of control. But as we said before, don't miss the beauty of the forest because of a few trees. No matter how many bunnies are born, they're always incredibly cute. First, they're tiny, small enough to fit easily in the palm of your hand. And second, they have the softest, fluffiest fur, basically little cotton balls you just want to hug all day long. Baby rabbits are super popular as pets for exactly this reason. And even when they grow up, many would argue their cuteness doesn't fade one bit. Number 15. Puppies. And now we're back to an absolute classic when it comes to cuteness, puppies. They are, without a doubt, among the most adorable creatures on the planet, and it's not hard to see why. First of all, they have practically endless energy. Yes, that means they can wear you out, but most of the time, you'll be having fun while they run around and play with everything in sight. Second, let's talk about their appearance. Puppies are incredibly charming to look at. It's like they were designed to radiate cuteness. Sure, as they grow up, many dogs develop muscles, strong posture, and, depending on the breed, even a more intimidating look. But as puppies, all they make you think is, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing ever. It makes total sense then that a recent study revealed puppies reach peak cuteness around 8 weeks old, exactly when their mothers stop nursing them and they start to become more independent. And that's usually when humans step in to fill the gap. Think about it. When you go to adopt a dog, do you usually pick an older adult or go straight for a puppy? Most people go for the puppy, of course. You pick one out, your kids choose the cutest of the bunch, and just like that, they form an instant bond with their new furry friend. And trust me, that works almost every single time. Number 16. Baby tortoises, going from an obviously cute creature to one you might question at first. Let's talk about baby tortoises. After all, when most people think of tortoises, they rarely imagine what they look like as babies. What usually comes to mind are the adults large, slow-moving, and famously known for living practically forever. Seriously, these animals will probably outlive us and laugh in our faces forever, mocking their slowness. Kind of like that dog from the duck hunt game. But hey, didn't we all learn that slow and steady wins the race? Back to the point, baby tortoises are truly adorable in their own unique way. They're tiny, fragile, and to some extent, pretty helpless. These so-called hatchlings have to engage in specific behaviors to survive, especially since they can't regulate their body temperature the way adults can. That means they need to stay near water when they're dry, or seek shade when they're getting too hot. So how does that add to the cuteness factor? Simple. What kind of animal do we humans almost always feel drawn to help? The ones that look like they need our help. And baby tortoises trigger exactly that instinct. The best part? They don't require a ton of care to be raised as pets. So, if you ever find one of these little guys on a beach, for example, you might be looking at a very special future companion. Number 17. Kittens. There are certain baby animals with names so recognizable that the moment you hear them, you know exactly what to picture, and your brain might even short-circuit from the cuteness overload. A perfect example: kittens. Kittens are, quite literally, baby cats. And playing with a kitten at just the right age can be a magical experience from beginning to end. First of all, they're visually enchanting. That might seem obvious, but when you think about it more deeply, you realize that their beauty makes all the difference. The appeal of kittens lies in the fact that they're so absurdly cute, they almost look unreal, and all you want to do is get close and interact with them. On top of that, kittens make pleasant sounds. They purr loudly and let out soft, high-pitched meows, a soothing contrast to the yowls, howls, and screeches that adult cats sometimes make. The sounds kittens produce are always harmless, almost therapeutic. Again, that might sound simple or basic, but it's actually much more than that. When you hear their tiny meows, your brain instantly starts wondering where such an adorable sound is coming from. And when you see the kittens continuing to meow, you're pulled in even deeper. Another fun fact: because there are so many different cat breeds, kittens come in a wide variety of appearances. So if you're ever lucky enough to have a whole litter of them, you might just witness one of the most heart-melting sights in the world. Number 18. Baby pandas. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'd be a fool not to include baby pandas on this list. Because, let's face it, they're pandas. Sure, you could argue that most bear cubs are cute, but when it comes to pandas, we're talking about a whole different level. And no, I'm not just referring to the fact that they're a different species of bear. The main difference is their coloring. That iconic black and white pattern has charmed people for years and gives pandas a unique appearance, totally unlike solid-colored bears like browns or blacks. Another thing is that they genuinely look like living stuffed animals, and you just can't help wanting to interact with them, even when the zoo tells you not to touch. Think about it. Pandas are such special animals that practically every zoo in the world wants one. They know that pandas draw huge crowds because everyone wants to see these little bundles of cuteness up close. And let's not forget those iconic clips and viral videos like the one of a baby panda clinging to a zookeeper's leg out of fear. It's impossible not to let out an "aw" when you see it. The fascination with baby pandas is so strong that it's even been the subject of scientific studies to figure out why people love them so much. But honestly, can't we just admit they're adorable and move on? Number 19. Capuchin monkeys. This is another classic case of an animal that can be a handful as an adult but is absolutely adorable as a baby. I say that because capuchin monkeys are somewhat known for being temperamental, which is why they're not exactly the best choice as pets. In fact, having any kind of monkey as a pet can lead to a lot of trouble. But once you meet a baby capuchin, you'll understand why so many people consider this species one of the cutest monkeys out there. And it's hard to disagree. They have expressive little faces and playful behavior that wins over just about anyone. Here's a strange fact. Capuchin monkeys often mark their territory by urinating on it. Because of that, many owners try to teach them to wear diapers, something you probably weren't expecting to hear about them. Believe me when I say that's just the beginning, especially when you consider that capuchins don't reproduce as often as people think. The females of this species only go into heat once every 2 years, and even then, they give birth to just one baby at a time. Capuchin monkeys have an extremely cute appearance, as we've already mentioned. Their colors can range from black, brown, and yellowish-white, or even a mix of all three. In general, they have dark brown fur with cream-colored tones. They measure between 35 and 45 centimeters in height, and their tails are almost as long as their bodies. So, if you ever get the chance to play with one of these little monkeys, the baby capuchin is definitely a strong contender to steal your heart. Number 20. Baby snakes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Snakes aren't exactly the cutest things in the world, and often that's true. Especially when we're talking about adult snakes that, in some cases, have the terrifying ability to kill with a single bite. But here's the thing. While adult snakes can be scary, when they're still babies, they can be surprisingly cute. Here's a fun fact. Many of you are probably imagining baby snakes hatching from eggs, and yes, many species do come into the world that way. There was a time when all snakes laid eggs. However, these days, there are several species that give birth in a way more similar to mammals. That is, through live birth instead of laying eggs. In the end, the result is the same. You're going to find yourself face to face with a bunch of tiny little snakes that can curl up on your fingertip and have a face that is, honestly, pretty adorable. This is one of those don't judge a book by its cover situations, because, as we said, adult snakes can be terrifying. But once you see how thin and tiny these young snakes are, you'll probably feel like holding a few in your hand. And yes, I get it, this still isn't for everyone. But don't miss the chance to look beyond the fear. If you manage to give these slithery little creatures a chance, there's a good chance you won't regret it. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. Also, check out other interesting videos that are appearing right now on your screen, and I'll see you in the next video. See you next time.